Drew Holiday can't even get through his first answer, just talking about being a little nervous and nervy going into his first practice. And Wick's like, oh, my God, you should have seen what he did, how he enveloped people. And like Pags follows right up.
We were marveling at the play where I don't think we've ever seen Jaylen Brown be stopped going from the hoop when he has a full head of steam. And he just ran right into Drew, and it was it. It was incredible. One of the most incredible things I've seen in practice.
The carrying on about this effing practice.
The 30 for 30 special on this practice is next week.
It's just...
Was this the same practice, by the way, where the clip was going viral yesterday of Jaylen Brown seemingly still unable to dribble with his left hand? Because there was that, too.
I didn't see that.
That's not going to make the documentary.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of it. I just listened to these guys carry on. It's like
we were marveling at the play.
Oh, my God,
I don't think we've
marveling.
Ever seen.
Wick couldn't continue. He cuts into Drew. I've never seen that before.
Like it's the Sistine Chapel.
Where he cuts into Drew.
You were playing 5.
Drew,
I felt more of that competitiveness.
Nervous. You were
incredible. Marvel. I was like, oh my God, guys, it's just a first practice. Even Stevens had it unzipped. Like, listen to this.
I mean, obviously, Brad. Like, look, we know you. You're happy. You're like, this is the most emotion we've seen you show on here. Like,
bad day to play poker with you.
Yeah. That's true. But also, like, it does feel like this is a little bit different.
Good line.
Well, I think what Wick and Pag said, we just came out of practice, and we got a chance to see this group go at it. And if you were sitting anywhere right around the court, you were in danger of getting, hit by balls that were being thrown all over like a typical second day of practice. And if you watched it really closely, you could tell that we made 1,000 mistakes, but you could also see like, there's that thing that's there, right? Jesus. There's a togetherness, there's an excitement, there's a joy, a competitiveness. I'm one of the few people that gets like an amazing joy out of the shell drill. And I told Drew when he went and got into Phil Pressey and almost made him quit coaching when he was guarding him, that made me so happy.
Stop! I can't. Celtics. I'm talking to
that made me so happy.
I'm talking to the franchise. I'm talking to you kids out there, and this is for your own good. Try and keep it in your pants just a little bit. The way you all get so far ahead of yourselves, it doesn't help.
This is when they get into trouble.
It doesn't help. It's too positive. It's too.
But you could also see like.
Oh my gosh! I mean, you could. They've already jumped ahead 3 steps. Like
that made me so happy.
I mean, so Drew Holiday came in and they had a good first practice where you saw a little something like, and I can tell this is what's going to be if they win a championship. The stories are going to be written, and they're going to say they'll go back and they'll ask Wick Grossbeck and they'll ask Brad Stevens and they'll ask the players, and they will say, we could tell the first practice that Drew Holiday stepped onto the floor. He sort of changed our mindset. He stuffed Jaylen Brown. He took on one of our assistant coaches in the shell drill, whatever the hell that is. And it's like, I'll write the story for you, but the problem with the Celtics and the fans and the whole thing is you start there. Like you're already writing that story. It was one practice, one drill.
Yeah.
Listen to these guys.
No, and again, this is when they get into trouble. This has been the problem with this whole group. Go right back to the beginning. They jumped into what was a pretty good environment for 2 very high picks. They didn't suck then. They were a playoff team out of the gate. They started talking about winning 5 or 6 titles. Meanwhile, here we are 5 years down the road, and they still haven't won their first. So, this is exactly when they get into trouble. They are never as good as they think they are.
Oh, my God. Do you ever hear, one day at a time? Or we'll see? Or we've got a lot to prove? Instead, it's just this. They love the player, and they should. He's a great ad. But, okay, they love the player. They're, on this high because they landed the player. He came in and had a good practice, and they saw a little something. And they just can't contain themselves. And the media play like, hey, Brad, look at you. And everyone, there's just euphoria, like the endorphins.
That made me so happy.
That fly for the shell drill on day 1. It's like, guys, everybody, like just you'd be better served to have a little cynicism, to maybe look on the dark side of it, look at it critically, and then if it works out, you feel even better. But you start with this, just like you have to start on this plane of giddiness that is just, it's like no other team in town.
And there were some allusions made, like to 2008, Garnett,
Oh,
Pierce,
yeah.
and so those, and you know what I remember about that team? Exactly what you were saying, the opposite of this. There was doubt. Are they deep enough? Are these guys going to mesh together?
Right.
Are they going to sacrifice?
You made the trade, and Bob Ryan, back when we had writers in this town who actually challenged teams, Bob Ryan came out and said it's the worst bench in the history of the NBA, and they're not going to do anything.
Right. And even the players said, look, we have to learn how to share the ball with each other, like all that stuff.
And the little babies today that follow the team or cover the team say, oh, that take didn't age well. Dummy. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about a mindset and challenging the team, and that's what it's about. So Bob Ryan was wrong. It's just a point of, like, start there. Like, it's okay to start with a little bit of cynicism. Boy, could Celtics Nation use just a little bit of cynicism about the thing. So that's why you have us. Drew Holiday, you've already overinflated him.
Fortunately, that made me so happy.
You've already. I hate to break this to you. When the Bucks won the championship in Game 6, the clinching game, Drew Holiday crapped his pants. I remember it in my mind's eye. I remember in the first half, he couldn't draw the rim. He must have had a couple of those air balls that hit the backboard. Like, I just remember it to this day.
Like a medicine ball.
He crapped himself. He was 4 of 19 from the floor in Game 6 against the Suns. 2 of 7 from behind the line. That 4 of 19, by the way, is 21%. He made an incredible defensive play and, dish to Giannis in whatever game, that 5 or 6, I guess, to really put them in command of the series. And he did his job. But I'm telling you, when the money was really, really on the line in that finals, he offensively was nowhere to be seen. He was on the team and prominent. You all sort of forgot this now. He was on that Bucks team 2 years ago that you beat. You beat that Bucks team with Marcus Smart. And at that time, Giannis was the reigning MVP and NBA champion. And Middleton was out. But Giannis, the best player on the planet, had Drew Holiday healthy and out there every night. And you still beat them in that series. And last year, Drew Holiday, drawing big minutes, was on a Bucks team that lost in 5 games in the first round to the Heat. 5 games. First round. Bye-bye. So it's like, keep it in your pants. Zip it up, Brad. But it starts on the podium. It permeates the media. It infects the fans. And it's like, kids, like, it's just, but it's the Celtics experience. And every time I see it, I'm blown away. It's like, how did it, you've won once in 40 years or whatever it is, but you still carry on like this.
Fortunately, we sell cynicism and skepticism in bulk.
This is why you have us.
It's wholesale.
This is why you have us.
We're going to change the name of the show from Felger Mazz to Cynicism and Skepticism.
That made me so happy.
Oh, my God, the cone drill, the shell drill. What is the shell drill? Do you know?
No idea.
It's a 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, and in the middle of it, the offense or defense gets an advantage somehow. Like, this defensive player can't move out of this zone, or they take one player away. That's all it is. I gave you the short version.
I'm
right?
sorry.
You want to know
Well,
what it was.
way,
I told you.
Holiday was so eye-opening. He almost got Phil Pressey to quit coaching.